The first warning came with the wind. It swept down from the peaks like a living thing, rattling the aspens and pulling a sharp breath from Lena Hart's lungs as she stepped off the bus at the end of the road. The driver didn't bother to ask if she was sure. He only nodded toward the mountains, as if they had already spoken for her. She adjusted her scarf, took her duffel from the dust, and watched the bus disappear. Silence rushed in to fill the space it left behind, a thick, watchful, ancient. She had come to the mountains to disappear. After the scandal in the city, the whispers, the job lost in a single meeting where no one would meet her eyes, Lena needed somewhere the past couldn't follow. The ad had been simple: remote cabin caretaker needed. Winter stay, no experience required. Pay fair, privacy guaranteed. The name at the bottom was just an initial, R. She found the cabin by following a creek that cut silver through the trees. Smoke rose from the chimney, steady and controlled. Someone was home. He stood on the porch when she came into view. Tall, broad-shouldered, wrapped in a worn jacket that looked older than she was. His beard was dark, his hair pulled back, his eyes an impossible gray that reflected the sky. He didn't smile. "You're early," he said. "I walked faster than I thought," she replied, suddenly aware of the weight of his attention. "Lena Hart." He nodded once. "Rowan." She held out her hand. He looked at it for a moment, then took it, his grip careful, as if he were afraid of breaking something. "You should know," he said, releasing her hand too quickly, "this place isn't for everyone." "I'm not everyone," Lena said. She surprised herself with the steadiness of her voice. Rowan studied her, then stepped aside. "Coming." "Storm's coming." The cabin was warm, clean, and sparse. Everything had a purpose. A cast iron stove glowed at the center, shelves lined with tools and jars of preserved food, a long table scarred with use. One small bedroom, a loft above. "You can take the loft," Rowan said. "Rules are simple. We split the work. You don't wander past the ridge alone. And if I tell you to stay inside, you listen." She raised an eyebrow. "Is that a rule or a suggestion?" His jaw tightened. "A warning." That night, the storm came hard. Snow slammed against the windows like thrown stones. The wind howled, pressing close, as if trying to force its way in. They ate in silence. Soup, bread, the comfort of heat. When Lena finally spoke, it was barely above the storm. "Why did you put that line in the ad? Privacy guaranteed." Rowan stared into his bowl. "Because I keep it." She nodded. That was enough. Days passed into a rhythm, chopping wood, mending fences, cooking meals together without speaking much, yet somehow understanding what the other needed. Lena learned the mountains slowly, respectfully. Rowan watched her work, listened when she spoke, said little. The first crack in his reserve came when she laughed. It was a small thing, her boot slipping on ice, the way she caught herself and laughed at the absurdity of it. The sound echoed off the trees, bright and human. Rowan froze. "What?" she asked. He turned away. "Nothing." But something had shifted. That night, she found him standing on the porch, staring into the dark. "You okay?" she asked. He didn't look at her. "I can't control myself around you." The words hit her harder than the cold. "I'm not saying that to scare you," he continued. "I'm saying it because you deserve to know. The mountains are broken, they strip things down. What's buried comes up." She wrapped her arms around herself. "Are you asking me to leave?" Number. His voice was rough. "I'm asking you to be careful." She considered him the honesty, the restraint it must take to say something like that and stop there. "Then we'll be careful," she said. Winter deepened. Snow piled high, cutting them off completely. The world shrank to the cabin, the fire, each other. They talked more, about nothing, about everything. Lena told him about the city, about how fast a life could collapse. Rowan told her about why he came to the mountains, losses he didn't name, pain that lived in his silence. One night, the power failed. Darkness rushed in, thick and immediate. Rowan lit candles, his movements practiced. Lena watched the way the flames carved shadows across his face. "You ever regret coming here?" she asked. He shook his head. "Regret is loud. The mountains taught me quiet." The cabin creaked as the temperature dropped. Without thinking, Lena moved closer to the fire and to him. Their shoulders brushed. Neither moved away. The air felt charged, alive. Rowan's breath was slow, controlled. "I warned you," he murmured. "And I listened," she replied. "I'm still here." He looked at her then, really looked at her, and something raw passed between them. Want, yes, but also fear, respect, restraint. He stood abruptly. "You should sleep." She nodded, heart pounding, and climbed to the loft. She lay awake for hours, listening to the storm, to his footsteps below, to the knowledge that something inevitable was drawing closer. By early spring, the snow began to melt. The creek swelled. The air softened. They had survived winter together. The morning it finally happened was ordinary. Coffee on the stove. Sunlight through the window. Lena reached for a mug at the same time Rowan did. Their hands collided, fingers tangling. Neither pulled away. "I can't," he began. She stepped closer. "You don't have to control everything." He searched her face for doubt, for fear. Found none. What followed wasn't wild or reckless. It was careful. And two people choosing each other in a place that demanded honesty. Later, as they sat together in the quiet, Rowan rested his forehead against hers. "You should know," he said softly, "by spring, people usually leave." Lena smiled. "What if I don't want to?" He exhaled, a sound halfway to a laugh. "Then maybe," he said, "neither do I." Outside, the mountains stood unchanged, witnesses to a story that would never be told in full, but would live on in the space between warning and choice, solitude and connection. And in that cabin, where the wind once carried a warning, something else had taken root, a steady, enduring, impossible to ignore